Hi, everybody. This is Lee McQueen, and I am the independent candidate in the race for Arkansas's 4th District House seat, the U.S. House of Representatives. And I wanted to make sure to check in with my viewers and supporters and interested parties. I find that it's necessary to maintain a very clear line of communication. I get asked a lot of questions on the campaign trail, and I find that this is a good way to make sure we're all on the same page. And so I'm doing that, and then also giving updates on what's been happening, our goals that we've met, our goals that we have set and are still meeting, places we want to go, what we want to do. And so there have been people who've been following this campaign from the very beginning, and I find that that's wonderful. It is great to have you along for this crazy ride. And we're having fun, discovering many things, learning a lot along the way. I learn a lot from the viewers of these videos, the people that come to the website that I see on social media, and then also door to door, door knocking, canvassing, at various community meetings. I learned so many things, and it's wonderful. The first thing I want to state that I am running to win. I am in this race to win the seat. I'm not just in the race to spread a message or to raise awareness or just to talk about issues. I'm doing all that, spreading a message, raising awareness, talking about issues, but I am in this race to win. In order to vote up the Future Arkansas platform, and you can see that list of legislation that's under that tab on the official website, mcqueenforcongress.wordpress.com. There's the Future Arkansas platform. There's a list of legislation that I plan to co-sponsor and then lobby for and vote up. And so, in order to do that, I must win this seat. I am in the race to win, going all the way to Tuesday, November 6, 2018. And so, in order to fight for these and not just talk about the issues, but actually to be in a position to enact these issues, I must win this race. Very important to me, very important to those who support single payer health care, which is at the top of my list of priorities. I come from a librarian. I almost said libertarian. No. I come from a librarian background. I've also done substitute teaching, and I'm a writer. And so definitely literacy and education are very important to me. But when it comes to healthcare, this is life or death. Education is important to quality of life, but healthcare is actually whether you have a life or not. And I feel that everyone should have a life, a good, healthy life, and that a healthy community, healthy individuals make for a healthy community. And that's one thing that should not be hoarded by the wealthy, actual health care. And so single payer health care is at the very top of the list. Affordable education, indeed free college tuition, comes next. And then that's where the quality of life issue comes in. And that we are doing disservice to ourselves, our very selves, by refusing to ensure that the young people going through high school have good quality public education. We need our children educated. It's good quality. It's for good quality of life for all of us. And that they should have access to free higher education, free tuition. And that once upon a time, tuition was affordable. And then during the 80s, the Reagan years, during the 80s, that's when tuition began to climb out of everyone's price range. And then through the Clinton years, college tuition continued to climb to the point less and less people were able to afford it. So the baby boom generation, who benefited from the wealth passed down by the greatest generation, the World War II generation, they passed down their wealth to the baby boomers, who actually had the benefit of that wealth and then actually lower college tuition, took advantage of that, and then things changed during the Reagan and the Clinton years. And then the tuition began to climb as wages did not meet that cost of living. in terms of college tuition. And so we have at least two generations, Generation X and the millennials, who are paying the price for that decision making. And that those who were able to get through school probably got through with a huge amount of debt. And that there are some who are just saying, I can't afford it. For one, I'll be indentured to whoever guarantees that loan. And then, can I actually have a good living wage job after I graduate in order to pay off that loan? And it's not looking good right now. But I'm hoping to be in a position to change that by voting up certain legislation that's available. We have spots in the U.S. where free college tuition is offered, including Arkansas. Here, there, Tennessee, Louisiana, parts of New York, and I think either North Dakota or South Dakota. But I'm saying we need to go nationwide. Same thing with healthcare. Also, affordable housing, good jobs with living wages, so people can actually have a basic income that keeps up with the cost of living. Responsible businesses, responsible corporations who want to maintain a charter by not abusing the environment, abusing public goods, natural resources, and then human rights. But then also a strong tax base, and that both are possible at the same time, that it's been done and it can be done. Renewable energy development, which is also happening in Kentucky, Iowa, Nebraska, Texas, and then Arkansas as well. Arkansas is pushing through some obstacles to its solar energy industry. There's some local resistance from some utilities, but I think the side of right is on the benefit of solar energy without a lot of false barriers being put in the way. So people are working on that. And then also infrastructure modernization, sidewalks, public works, streets, roads, bridges, things like that, to ensure our community goes and that we have good transportation networks, good rural internet connectivity, things like this, to ensure that people are in communication and can move, and we can transport goods and services around the state. Safety and security with respect for civil liberties, foreign policy with respect for human rights, and then integrity and trust in the election process itself, and then active civic engagement in order to ensure that integrity and trust in the election system itself. And so that is my platform. That is what I'm in the race for. Each of these are backed by specific legislation on the Future Arkansas platform that I intend to co-sponsor, lobby for, and vote up. That means that I must win this race. And so that's why I'm in the race, to win. And so I did write out a statement. I wrote out a very clarifying statement that's on the website that I distributed to my email network, Facebook. I think there's a link on Twitter and LinkedIn, wherever. But I wrote out a statement on, can an independent win Arkansas's 4th district congressional seat in 2018? My conclusion is yes. And then there's, I think it's about 2-page document, and I think it's on the statements page, because I have a page of my official statements, and it's there. And that there you'll also find my transcript for the Green Party meeting that I had on October 29th, where I covered a multitude of issues concerning my campaign. So between that and the Green Party transcript, you'll learn a lot about what I'm doing in the race, why I'm in it, where I'm trying to go, how to get there, things like this. But in general, as long as my opponents continue to be on the wrong side of the issues, and I feel that they are on virtually every issue that I just outlined, it's either incrementalism or foot dragging or maintaining the status quo, which is unacceptable. People want to go somewhere. They want to have a better life. They want to be better off than what they were before. And that we have the capability of doing that. It's a matter of fighting for what you want and need out of life. We have people in the race who are being incrementalists. They are for maintaining the status quo. There is for not changing anything, just keep on doing what we've been doing. Arkansas needs to move forward. And so my campaign as the independent is not left. It's not right. It's forward. We need to move forward, forward motion, that direction. That way is why I'm in the race. And that we also have an incumbent who's actually serving as an obstacle, basically on every issue, fighting, attacking, and then telling people that they don't deserve to have these things, that they can't have these things, and that they won't have these things while he is in office. And so, you have to know that you do deserve these things, that you can have these things, and that we can afford to have these things, and that we should have these things, that it's time for Arkansas to move forward, and that people who are serving as obstacles, foot dragging, blocking, need to be pushed out of the way. That's all there is to it. Get them out of the way. And so, incrementalism, active opposition to healthcare. If all of these are coming from my opponents, yes, the independent can win the race. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm definitely looking forward to everyone having healthcare, everyone having free college tuition, or vocational education, and then affordable housing, the very basics to life, I think people should have. And I'm willing to fight for that. I've been advised by some self-admitted campaign operatives who have approached me and said that they are willing to help my campaign, but I have to move to the center, and that I have to readjust, and then they'll help me. And the thing is, I'm an old school progressive. If you consider going back to the Jesse Jackson days, old school progressive. I started out in the political world volunteering on a progressive campaign because that's what I believe in. And that I also supported Ralph Nader when he was in the race, because I support progressive, the side of the dial, forward motion, and that a good quality of life for everyone, not just for some. And that I'm a progressive, that I devoted hours hours upon hours of YouTube video to Bernie Sanders when he was running through the Democratic primary. I supported his campaign and decided that I wanted to use my news channel to cover him in the race because he wasn't receiving equal time, I felt, to his competitors. And that after his race through the primary concluded, I did virtually the same thing for Jill Stein, that I made a clear decision to support the progressive in the race, because I felt that she deserved equal time, and that I would do what I could to provide that. Anyway, the campaign that I'm running is a progressive campaign, and that it states that on the homepage, all the issues, a very brief list of the issues, and then there's also there's links, my various stances on certain issues, including healthcare, economy, education, banking reform, foreign policy. All that's listed out. And then also the specific legislation that I intend to support. So it's very clearly stated that this campaign, it is a progressive campaign, that I have no intentions of moving to the center, and that I find that a false kind of narrative in any way, because what I've been finding, just, going back through political history, is that moving to the center is actually moving towards corporate control, actually. That it's actually a move towards corporations, and that there is no center, really. There's common sense, but there's really no center, and that moving towards the corporations or a corporate point of view is not something that this campaign is going to do. That I'm very firm on where I stand on these issues, and again, they're listed out on almost every page of the website. Very clear statements over and over again of what I'm in the race for, and that I welcome everyone's support. We do need support from people who have knowledge of operating in politics. But again, there has to be an understanding that the campaign platform is a campaign platform. The issues, the positions are the issues and positions, and that there's reasons behind that. It's all justified, and that I invite you to take another look through the website and see if you can get in there, get in where you fit in, and still assist us. I'm going to talk about the ways in which people can contribute, and that I'm going to get to campaign contributions later in the video. Some have already come in. We're receiving our campaign contributions, and we appreciate every cent. It's going to a good use. I am a fiscal conservative, not a social conservative, but I am a fiscal conservative. I'm very watchful of every penny, and that it all goes to a good use. I'm going to talk more about that later in the video. We've been receiving endorsements. Speaking of some good news, we've been receiving endorsements, and from Demand Universal Healthcare, they have endorsed a full slate. This organization is pro single payer healthcare. They've endorsed a full slate of congressional candidates for 2018. They endorsed my campaign, and I appreciate that. Demand Universal Healthcare. They're willing to stand up and fight for that, and then also support candidates who are willing to stand up and fight for that, which we are. Jack Pine Radicals. I've got individual endorsements. Marilyn Brown of MENA, Catherine Morse of El Dorado. Our endorsements are coming in as well, and we appreciate those. Very good to see that we are receiving recognition, that despite media kind of people are finding us, and I'm also reaching out, and people are finding us in various different ways. And that's one way you can help us to continue to spread the word about this campaign. The paper of record in Arkansas is out of Little Rock. It's the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. They contacted me to confirm my presence in the race, which I did. I confirmed that, and then 2 days later, we saw the article, and it did not include me. So people noticed that, and they alerted me to that fact, and that there was no mention of me or my campaign, just my opponents, and that they received the free publicity while we received none. We call that separate and unequal in Arkansas, don't we? Little Rock 9. Some of you need to learn from that. And so I have a statement on election integrity on my website, and that includes media and electoral procedure. And so I'll let people look at that and, contemplate on whether we do have that kind of integrity in our electoral system in Arkansas. Catherine Morse actually wrote a letter to the editor about that issue. And it turns out she's a political science professor, so she knows what she's talking about. They printed that article that covered my opponents, but no mention of me. She also works with Our Revolution, and so she understands that there needs to be equal time given to all candidates in the race. She worked for Bernie Sanders, and that she was not having that. And so I say thank you, Catherine, very much for alerting me to that fact. And then she wrote a letter to the editor, and I linked a PDF of that letter that she wrote, which is fantastic. It's on the official website. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. So people can look and see what, as an example of how to kind of hold your paper of record accountable, the paper in your own hometown, whether it's the main paper or even a community newspaper. If you can write something about our campaign, that word of mouth helps us. Whatever the circulation is, if it's 500 people or 5,000 or 50,000, we appreciate your assistance with getting the word out. And so, Catherine, you used a letter to the editor to do that. And so there's a link on the website. There's a page at Spread the Word where you can find links on how to write letters to the editor, to the publisher, to the producer, if you're writing to a television station or a radio station. Everything should be there. And how to push back on, either biased coverage or lack of coverage or even false coverage. That's how you push back. And so Catherine's letter is an excellent example. There's a paper in Magnolia, which is in my district, and that they kind of did cover my campaign briefly, but they did it in a weird way. And I'll try to describe it. It was something like, well, she claims to be running some kind of Bernie Sanders type of something kind of campaign, so she claims, and that she says she's gonna file or something she says she's doing. That's how they wrote it down my campaign. And so I was like, that's weird. And so again, misrepresentation, election integrity, which media coverage is part of that. And that if you see things like that, please alert the campaign, but also take another step and maybe write to the editor correcting misrepresentation. That helps us, and it definitely helps the community because it's a part of information being power, and that if you can clarify and provide that information, that empowers the community. And I think that's fair, that they should have the information that's actually truthful. So anyway, other ways that you can help besides letters to the editor, we've got PDFs of our flyers, handbills. We've got business card PDFs where you can print out business cards and hand them out. That's kind of like a very fiscally conservative alternative. Rather than a whole sheet of paper, you can hand out handbills or even business card sized information. We've got a gallery of photos, our logos, various images, our slogans, campaign platform, issues. There's lots of content on the official website. And so we're encouraging people to take advantage of that and print up their own literature. You can use our literature that we've already posted up, or you can create your own information and pass it out in your community, whether it's Mena, El Dorado, Magnolia, Monticello, Pine Bluff, Hope, Arkadelphia, Hot Springs, Russellville, wherever you are. You can always just help us out that way by spreading the word. And so I've been getting invitations from various people to speak to groups around the district, here or there. And I appreciate those. In the immediate future, like this week and throughout the month of December, we'll be ballot petitioning. That's one. We'll be doing our ballot petitioning. I'm going to speak on that. And then we also have our Medicare for All town hall. And so I'm hoping that people can assist us while I'm kind of swamped, I would say, with a lot of activities in the immediate future, because ballot access is a high priority for us. And that also our Medicare for All town halls is Thursday. If you can assist us by going to the campaign website, the social media, the YouTube channel, and gather up the information to spread to your family, friends, churches about the campaign. And likely after ballot petitioning, I'll be traveling more around the district. And that, travel, overnight accommodations, meals, they all cost money. We're continuing to fundraise, but for the immediate future, we have to be very watchful of our spending. Getting through the ballot access first, and then after we meet that obligation, we can probably travel more around the district and speak to various groups. I'm thinking we can also do speaking engagements in the Texarkana area, the media area. You can introduce people to my campaign in the meantime until we get to you. But we want to meet you, definitely. So anyway, speaking of the Medicare for All town hall, that's Thursday, December 7th. So a few days away. It's 5:30 at Texarkana Public Library, the expanded and improved Medicare for All town hall. Please help us spread the word about that. We've had a good advantage in that I've been able to get the word out some weeks in advance. But if you can help us do this last minute push to make sure everyone knows and doesn't miss out on the opportunity to speak out about healthcare, and that we have people in this state shaking their finger at us, telling us that we don't deserve it because we didn't work hard enough, and that we can't afford it because there's no money, they say. and that it's just not, you can't have health care. And so this is your opportunity to speak out about that. I've had people come up to me with testimonials about how they've got disabilities, or their child's got disabilities, or they're a veteran, or there's some issue. And I'm inviting you to come to this town hall and have your say. This Thursday, December 7th, Texarkana Public Library. I'm hoping to get people to talk to their family, friends, neighbors, community groups, church members. Wednesday night Bible study. There's still time. Wednesday night Bible study. Knock on a door. Knock on your neighbor's door. Pick up a phone. Send an email or text about this town hall, and help us help each other get informed about the concept of single payer itself, and then what the barriers are to get it implemented, and that what we have to do. And it's likely grassroots organizing that's going to be the requirement for that. We're looking for volunteers for the town hall. We need at least 2 people. One to make sure everyone signs in with their name and email, and then another one to pass out literature. We'd like someone, so that's 3, to man the ballot access and voter registration table. And then a 4th one to help everyone get their refreshments and find a seat, and get them settled in. And then once the town hall begins, we're going to need at least one person to be the Oprah Winfrey and maintain control over the microphone, because we all like to rock the mic. I do too. But we need someone to actually make sure everyone gets a chance to speak, not just 1 or 2 or 3. Everyone gets to speak. And that we're going to attempt to include Gerald Friedman in the Q&A. He won't be there in person, but we're going to attempt to include him electronically or digitally in the Q&A to answer questions. This is the PhD in economics who has written several pieces and spoken several times on the concept of single payer healthcare, and how it is affordable, and how it is possible, and that it's a cheaper alternative to the healthcare system that we have today. And that's going to come out at the meeting when we talk about Medicare for All, which is the method of the type of single payer system. Medicare for All is the preferred choice of the type of single payer system that people want in the United States. So we're going to let people speak. Gerald Friedman's going to say some things. I'm going to say some things. The audience is going to say some things. Everyone's going to have an opinion. And then we're going to spread the word, spread some knowledge about single-payer healthcare, HR 676, and then also S1804, which is Bernie Sanders' version in the Senate. Busy with activities. So, I could use everyone's help. Use help with the town hall and other activities. I spoke briefly about ballot access petitioning. It started last Friday, December 1st, and the deadline, the current deadline for petitions is March 1st, 2018. And that there's actually a court hearing on that deadline in the U.S. District Court on December 12th. And so there's a court hearing on that. There's some dispute. Some people are saying that deadline is too short and that it's unconstitutional. And this has gone all the way up to the Eighth Circuit Court, who remanded it down back to the U.S. District Court, whether that deadline is even constitutional. And so, the Secretary of State is fighting to maintain the March 1st deadline. It's Mark Martin. And that the Secretary of State is also being sued by the Libertarians regarding their own party's ballot access requirements. So, some things going on down here. But we're using the current deadline of March 1st because that's what we were told. And depending on how that hearing goes on the 12th, it might change to a later date. But we can't assume anything. And so it might stay the same. And so we're just staying focused on what we know right now. And that the ballot access petitioning deadline is March 1st. But we'll see. There might be new information after December 12th. And so we can use your help with the ballot access petitioning. I get requests all the time for people saying, I want to help. I want to help. This, letters to the editor, that's one way. Spreading the word by passing out our campaign literature, that's another way. Ballot access petitioning, very important to get on the ballot. That's another way to help. There's a PDF of the actual petition. It's under the ballot access link on the homepage. And that there's instructions that you have to copy it onto legal size paper. You can make it fit. You can, I want to say inflate it, expand it, increase the size to fit 8.5 by 14 size paper. And so the PDF is on the website. So from where you are, you don't have to contact the campaign to have us send you. It's right there. You can just download that and then print it out on legal size paper, expand it. We need at least 2,000 ballot signatures from registered voters of Arkansas District 4. So registered voters, residents of Arkansas District 4, and make those signatures valid. And we need at least 2,000 of those. It's already started, but we can definitely use everyone's help. We're decentralizing this effort. There's a map that's on that ballot access page, so you can look and see. And then also you can check with your county clerk if you're not sure whether you're inside District 4, because some counties, it's partial. Like Jefferson County, it's not the entire county, it's partial. If you're not sure, check with the county clerk whether you're a resident of District 4. I hope you are. I really want you to be. So the Secretary of State seems to have some kind of thing going on in when it comes to third parties and independent candidates, and that's why we need everyone's help. We need everyone's help to overcome those obstacles and ensure that I, Lee McQueen, can break through those obstacles and barriers and get on the ballot by March 1st. So March 1st, I'm asking that everyone who helps with the ballot access, you can mail your completed petitions back in to McQueen for Congress by February 1st. And just to make sure, work for, these 2 months, it's about 2 months, up until February 1st, and then mail those back into me. So I can get those assembled, and then we'll put them in order and deliver them in person to the Secretary of State, Mark Martin. Your help is crucial, and it's appreciated with this effort to get those signatures, definitely. And in general, I have a statement about things like this, the media coverage, and then election integrity. It's on the election integrity page, things like this. Another way that people can help me is one basic thing. I've been trying to find a copy of I think it's the May 2017 Arkansas Business Times. I've been calling, here around to see if I can get a copy. No one has it, including me. I have a letter to the editor about single-payer healthcare that I'm wanting to scan and add to the website. If you happen to have that copy from earlier this year, Arkansas Business Times, please scan that letter to the editor and then send it to me. You can send it to me on Facebook, a link to it, Twitter, or you can email it to me. Just get in touch with me on the contact page at the official website. Okay, so I'm going to go back to campaign contributions and then probably go to the downturn of this video. It's pretty long because lots of things are happening. We do need to increase our fundraising results. We need to keep our money up. And so whether it's $3, whether it's $13, $23, $43, we're looking for small contributions to the campaign. And again, $3 is not too small. We use every cent very carefully. If you just have $3, that helps us. And it's necessary because it is adding up. It helps us to cover the cost of printing up all the flyers, the handbills, the business cards, blank petitions. I've been handing out business cards for a while, and that some people say, "Oh, I lost that business card. Can I have another?" And then I give them another. And then, "Oh, can you give me, help me out here, please help me out." all this, we have a lot of information on the website, and we're hoping that people can make printouts and help us with the printing. And for the people that can't do that, of course, we have literature that we want to hand out. It does cost us money, and so the campaign contributions help us cover that. And that also the cost of travel and transportation, office supplies to make the campaign go, various fees that come up, and professional services that we use to get things done. And also, eventually, we want to buy ad space. I've generated a lot of editorial content to send out, but we may actually be buying ad space soon. We want to be competitive to our opponents who are rewarded with free publicity in the main paper of record. So we have to counter that with the editorial content that we generate, and then also possibly ad space if we can get enough fundraising done to actually be able to afford ad space if it comes to that we have to do in order to stay competitive. And that our opponents have machines behind them, that we make dollars out of 15 cents. So somehow we do that. We stretch our budget. But what it comes down to is our opponents do have machines behind them, that my opponent, the incumbent in this race, he was at six figures when I first entered the race. And that was actually back in late September. And then I announced publicly like October 2nd. And so by then he was already at six figures. So he's ahead of us. We won't be able to outspend him. But I'm thinking between our platform, which is actually progressive, very forward thinking, very common sense, very people focused, not corporate focused, very people focused, although it is fair to businesses, responsible businesses, strong tax base. And so in order to compete, we do need to at least not completely match him on fundraising, but we need to get our money up to stay and continue to be competitive. If you can help us, then please donate. If you want a candidate who is not bought and boss, who will fight for grassroots issues, progressive issues, for healthcare, for education, please donate. If you cannot help us with the ballot access, never fear, you can donate. If you cannot help us with voter registration, please donate. If you cannot help with the distribution of campaign literature, please donate. So you can get in where you fit in. There's many things, many ways to help us. And that's one. And we appreciate it. Each contribution you make counts. Every role that you play in this campaign counts. It moves us forward. The right-wing Republican has tried to describe himself as a conservative, but he is not. Actually, I'm the fiscal conservative in this race. Single-payer healthcare is a fiscally conservative choice in healthcare, and that's what I'm fighting for. My opponent has actually fought against single-payer healthcare his entire political career. He's fought against a public option. He's fought against a private option. He's fought against Medicaid, Medicare. He consistently attacks women's reproductive health care, and I'm going to do that in another video. We have something we call the Susan Komen Race for the Cure around Arkansas. The women, they dress in pink to support breast cancer awareness, and they race. They're running for their lives against cancer for the cure. Whether it's, breast cancer, cervical, uterine, colorectal, ovarian cancer, things like this. Serious issues in women's health care, and that my opponent has voted to defund women's health care clinics. It's in his record. He's voted to prevent insurance coverage of women's health care. Women are 51% of the electorate in District 4. And it comes down to that they have to race for the cure because their congressman is voting against them. And, he dragged his feet on voting to reauthorize CHIP, the children's health care. And then, he finally voted, the House did. And then he acted like he wanted a prize for that, for finally allowing children to have health care. Clap for me. Okay. And so he did vote up the AHCA, the Republican version of a healthcare package that was pretty horrific and rejected by the majority of the electorate, including in Arkansas. Maybe 17% of the national population actually supported the AHCA, which he voted up. He voted up granting fast track authorities to former President Barack Obama on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which Donald Trump, the head of the Republican Party, actually described as the worst trade deal ever. And then he deaded that because it was so horrific. And my opponent voted that up. So it gets worse. He voted up the Financial Choice Act, which decimates the Dodd-Frank Wall Street reforms put into place. Also, consumer protection. He voted decimating that. And then also this latest Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. I call it a grift. And he voted that up. And so it makes you wonder, like, who is he representing? You can't really call yourself a fiscal conservative if your main goal is to move the wealth of the 99% into the hands of the 1% via corporate transfers of wealth, not holding them accountable for what they're supposed to be paying into the system. We all render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and we've been doing that since biblical days. And we are willing to do that, but not everyone is, and that those people do not need to be protected by a representative. That it's actually the 99%, the ones who are actually voting, that need to be protected. So that's what you see. And so, again, the question is, can the independent win Arkansas's 4th district? My position is, if my opponents continue to be on the wrong side of the issues, yes, the independent can win. And I feel that they are on the wrong side of issues. If they continue to serve as obstacles to single-payer healthcare, free college tuition, housing, affordable housing, good jobs with living wages, if they continue to be irresponsible when it comes to actually guarding the small business owner who actually benefits from single-payer healthcare, if we take that burden off the small business owner, they can expand their business and hire more employees because they will no longer be in a position of having to guarantee health care or, be forced to, take time away from their actual business to engage in insurance administration. Single payer releases them from that. And that also small businesses should not have to make up the tax differential that the mega corporations refuse to pay. That falls on the small business owner. And so I'm going to fight against that. Also, renewable energy development and infrastructure modernization. And that we need a police force that secures us, but with a respect for civil liberties. And then foreign policy with a respect for human rights, and that it's time to pivot away from economically ruinous foreign engagements that actually do not need to happen, and that it's the U.S. Congress that actually needs to step forward to protect our troops and to stop irresponsible abuse of our troops. Also, integrity and trust in election process. And so that's what I'm fighting for. I feel that's people focused. It's common sense. It's a platform that puts people first before profits. And that's the side that I'm on. I feel that that's the side of right. I feel that that's the right side of history, and that the independent who maintains a position on that can definitely win with your help. Get in with your fit in where you fit in and help us out where you can. We appreciate it. Let's run for Congress.